We are now in lesson 13-2. We're going to be talking about area with right triangles. We'll start off with the launch problem. Try your hardest. If you're spending more than 5 minutes, you just need to move on. I will show you the answer in a moment.
The principal of a middle school wants students to help restore a nearby lot. The school asks each grade to submit a plan for part of the lot. The 6th grade plans a nature zone split evenly as shown between a garden and a mini forest. What is the area of each part of the nature zone? Explain.
So the area can be found by taking your length times width and dividing by 2. If you want to pause the video and read through this, it will explain it in a little bit more detail. Now we're moving into part 1. Here's our example problem.
A rectangular sheet of paper has dimensions 8 1/2 inches by 11 inches. A diagonal of the paper forms 2 matching right triangles. What is the area of one of the triangular regions?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be drawing a sheet of paper off to the side, and then we'll split it in 2 so that you can see where the right triangles are. So here's my sheet of paper, 8 1/2 by 11. It says a diagonal of the paper forms 2 matching right triangles. So here's one right triangle. Remember, a right triangle means that there is a 90-degree angle or perpendicular angle. And so there's one right here, and there's one right here. It says, what is the area of one of the triangular regions? So what we have to do is find the area of our sheet of paper. I can find the area by taking my base times my height. So in my calculator, I can do that as 8 1/2 times 11, which is going to give me 93 1/2. The area of this whole sheet of paper is 93 1/2 inches squared. So to get the area of one of those triangles, we split them into 2 equal parts. So I'm going to divide my answer by 2. So the area of one triangular region is 46 75/100. 46 75/100 inches squared. And that is your final answer. Here's our first got it problem.
A quilt pattern has rectangular pieces of fabric divided into right triangles as shown. What is the area of one of the triangular pieces?
And the correct answer is B, 12 1/4 inches squared. Here's how we get the answer. You can pause the video so you can read through this and understand a little bit better. It has 2 different steps. We're now moving into part 2. Here's our intro.
To compose a shape, join 2 or more shapes so there is no gap or overlap. You can compose a rectangle from a right triangle. Suppose you have a right triangle with base B and height H. To compose a rectangle, first make a copy of the right triangle. Rotate the copy, and then push the triangles together to form a rectangle. So you can use a right triangle to compose a rectangle with the same base and height as the right triangle.
So when we move into our example problem, we want to find the area of this right triangle. I want to picture it like it's a rectangle because we already know how to find the area of a rectangle. So here's my dotted line. It's kind of bad, I apologize, but you get the picture. We have our base is 8 meters and our height is 5 meters. Again, finding the area of a rectangle, you do base times height. So my base times height equals 40 because 8 times 5 equals 40. And since a right triangle is half of a rectangle, all I have to do is divide my 40 by 2 to get my final answer. And 40 divided by 2 equals 20. So the area of this right triangle is 20 meters squared. Remember, it's very important to make sure that you have your units in squared when you're finding area. Now it's your turn in the got it problem.
This flower garden has the shape of a right triangle. What is the area of the flower garden?
The correct answer is B, 13.5 meters squared. Here is how we get that answer. Step 1, compose the rectangle, find the area. Step 3 is find the area of the right triangle by dividing by 2. You can pause the video and read through this if you would like to, but I'm going to move on to the key concept.
The formula for the area of a right triangle is related to the formula for the area of a rectangle. The base of a triangle is any side of the triangle. The height of a triangle is the length of the perpendicular segment from a vertex to the base opposite that vertex.
So perpendicular means it's that 90-degree angle. And remember, our vertex or vertices are your corners of your shape.
The formula for the area of a rectangle is A equals B times H, where A represents the area, B represents the base, and H represents the height.
This is the formula that we learned in lesson 1.
The formula for the area of a right triangle is A equals 1/2 B times H, where A represents the area, B represents a base, and H represents the corresponding height.
Another way that you can look at this is your area equals your base times height, and then you're going to divide it by 2. So both this equation and this equation will give you the same answer. We are now in part 3. We want to find the area of this right triangle, so we have to determine our base and our height. Our base and our height are going to be perpendicular to each other, so I always want to look for this right angle. Typically, you're going to have this little box that tells you that this is a right angle, so that's what you want to look for. I'm going to say that my base is 5, and I know I need to multiply it by the height with it, which is 12. 12. So I need to do 5 times 12. 5 times 12 equals 60. And then I need to do this divided by 2, so I'm doing 60 divided by 2. And I know that that equals 30. I take a look at what my units are, they're centimeters, so my final answer is going to be 30 centimeters squared. Sorry for the bad handwriting. And here's the last got it problem.
What is the area of the right triangle?
The area is 24 feet squared, and this is how they got that answer. That is all I have for you for this lesson. Be sure to ask any questions that you have in class and work hard, be very productive so that we can get through this together.